Hello and welcome to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Brent Ellis with the Ellis team at Keller Williams down here in sunny Southwest Florida. And today I want to take a minute with you and talk about some real issues I'm seeing in the industry, and it's been going on for quite a while. So it's something that I think realtors need to pay attention to, and we need to educate the public a little bit better. It's the as-is contract versus a standard contract. And by the way, by me providing this video to you, I'm not trying to act as an attorney or give legal advice in any capacity. I just want to explain the difference of how this came about and what's going on in the industry from a realtor perspective, so you can see how it affects buyers and sellers. So the as-is contract, it became popular in the foreclosure crisis. Prior to that, we used the standard FAR, the Florida Association of Realtors, the Florida Bar contract. It was meant to protect buyers from major items, this as-is was. A roof, plumbing, electrical, just major components of the house. But it's morphed into a renegotiation on every item in the report, regardless of whether they would have ever been covered under the standard contract or not. I mean, we're seeing renegotiations on things like little caulk sealer and window sealer and this thing doesn't work properly, or we want a brand new refrigerator because it just looks it looks 4 years old or something like that. And that's never what the contract was intended to do. They intended to make this a simpler process, and it's just morphed into something different. Going back to the standard contract, it had covered items, and it was clearly spelled out. Items like roof, plumbing, electrical, appliances, they all had to be in working condition. And if they weren't in working condition, the seller had to either bring them back into working condition or replace them if they weren't repairable. And it was pretty simple, and it was clearly spelled out. Did we have some negotiations about whether this or that? Yeah, on occasion, but nothing like what we have today. So it kept the sellers in the deal, and I'll go over more about that here in a second. But there were out clauses. So let's say the way it worked was the seller's responsible. In the old days, it was up to 3% of the purchase price to cover major items. Then it changed to 1.5% of the purchase price for major items, and also 1.5% for wood destroying organisms like termites or something. So the seller, if the AC wasn't working, the seller's responsible to fix it, basically. Now, if it exceeded 1.5%, either party could elect to pay the excess, or they could just cancel the contract. But most of these things don't exceed the kind of numbers we're talking about. On a $400,000 house, you're talking about, $6,000. And most items don't exceed that. But it eliminates the tic-tac stuff, the renegotiate stuff that's been going on. The benefits of the standard contract were it keeps the buyers and the seller in the deal. The seller can't back out and say, I'm not going to fix the water heater. It might be an $800 water heater to fix, and they can say, I'm not doing it. And the buyer may not have the money to do it. But it also keeps the buyer in the deal from saying, I'm not going to back out because I don't like the water heater. The seller may say, I'll fix the water heater. I'll replace the water heater. Buyer can say, nope, not doing it. I can change my mind for any reason, basically anything. It's a guaranteed out for the buyer. And that's not good either. It's not fair to either party. And the one thing it's not fair to the buyer on is you may have to do this 2, 3, 4 times. So you're paying costly reinspection fees every time you do this. Newer agents, 10 years or less in the business, they don't really understand the benefits of the standard contract. So most of them don't use it. In fact, in the listing agreement, it'll say, as-is contracts only. That's because they don't understand the benefits of that. And my job here today is I want to educate consumers and realtors who haven't been in the business very long about the benefits of why you might want to consider standard contracts. They just have limited to no experience with it. It's foreign to them, so therefore it must not be as good. It's not the way we do things. Well, I think the way we used to do things is better than the way we're doing things now. And this is why I just wanted to call it to your attention. So something to think about, conversation to have with your attorney or with your realtor about which contract to use when you're submitting an offer. You've been watching The Future of Real Estate presented by the Ellis team at Keller Williams down here in sunny Southwest Florida, and thanks for tuning in.
The Ellis team at Keller Williams is a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll handle you with care.